All right, Doug Luzader, thank you so much. Joining us live today from Washington, D.C. We'll continue to look for your reports on Fox News Channel, so watch for Doug because he's keeping a very close eye on this developing and very important story. I want to turn back to our panel. Liz Trotta, I bet you have a thought or two on this.
I have two thoughts, Deborah, at the moment. My first thought is that it really is it's really apocalyptic to watch Bill Clinton come in and virtually try to save Obama's presidency. I mean, that's really what this is all about. And Clinton is the master. He never really left the White House in spirit. And I think he's gone in there to smooth the way because Obama just can't hack it and is in terrible trouble, and the party knows it. The other observation I would make is that, you know, and it's really a pox on both parties, is all of this talk about the rich and tax cuts. Most of those people who make this argument that we're looking at are all multimillionaires. And I mean, I really think you have to sit back and look and say, what are they talking about? That, you know, the rich are terrible and we should really penalize them. It's all window dressing.
Well, you know, President Obama was on NPR radio this morning and saying, you know, despite this rebellion by many Democrats against his tax deal, he says it will pass because, quote, nobody, Democrat or Republican, wants to see people's paychecks smaller on January 1st because Congress didn't act. David?
Listen, let me just go back to something Liz said. This president is not in trouble. You show me a Republican that has the... Come on. Let's look at the numbers, okay? There's not a Republican out there that has the favorability ratings that the president does. That's point one. Secondly, he is sticking to his guns on behalf of the American people and with the middle class to make sure that, one, we're not adding further to our deficits with possibly a $70 billion tax cut to the millionaires and billionaires, and to going to Liz's comment earlier, this isn't just a game or a lot of talk or rhetoric. We're cutting further into our deficits or adding to our deficits to give the only people that have surpluses in their wallets and their bank accounts at a time when they don't need it. I mean, corporate profits are at an all-time high, and yet they're still not creating more jobs, and yet we're going to give for every $1 million $100,000 to those individuals. I don't think that's a wise idea. The president has said such. Now, the GOP has insisted, but the president has said, look, if that's what it takes, I'm not going to have the middle class interests sacrificed at the altar of political warfare. So hopefully the Democrats do come around in finding a way to get behind this, or to come up with some kind of persuasion tactics to the GOP to let go of busting our budget further with a $70 billion tax cut. But nonetheless, let me just say foremost that this president was not going to allow for a delay of game. He's quarterbacking this team of Republicans and Democrats on behalf of the American people. Sometimes you got to throw the ball right, sometimes you got to throw the ball left. He's thrown it to the Republicans. Hopefully they don't start looking for a permanent tax cut for the wealthy, because it's only a 2-year extension that Obama has granted. And hopefully the Democrats over the weekend will begin to want to get possession of the ball again and take us into the end zone on behalf of the American working family.
Liz, what do you think about the tax provisions designed in this bill to increase production of hybrid cars, biodiesel fuel, energy-efficient homes, coal and energy-efficient household appliances would be extended through the end of 2011?
Well, that's a sop to the left, of course. I mean, the real problem here is that we're in this deficit, and I certainly don't excuse George Bush, but in the 2 years that he's had in the White House, Obama has managed to spend us deeply, deeply into this deficit. And the Democrats would like to frame this now as a situation in which not extending the tax cuts would be the solution to the deficit. That's nonsense. The whole thing was built into this argument when we talk about how we're going to cut the deficit. Cutting the deficit is going to take enormous will and enormous amounts of cuts, and this tax cut is nowhere near where we have to go. But I think it's the last gasp of the Democrats trying to save themselves.
David, what do you think?
It's an irony that you got the Republicans who are sitting on the sidelines whining about not getting any plays and talking about deficits. Now that we're looking to get, back on the field and on behalf of the American working family, they're going to try and muck things up by talking about tax cuts and $70 billion to add to the deficit when for 2 years they've been talking deficits that we got to control and we got to come on. I mean, let's let go of that and serve those that need it. Those that, the GOP are flacking for, that Liz feels beholden to, I don't know, but they don't need it. They got surpluses.
But the
they
money
don't
was
need
spent by
help.
Obama, for heaven's sake. The guy has spent us into oblivion, and for you to sit there and say that that isn't the case, it's just chicanery.
He has been stimulating the economy to get us out of the ditch that the Bush era has put us in. We were losing 650,000 jobs a month, Liz. We're now back where over the last 11 months we have created 1 million private sector
jobs. Where are those jobs? Yeah, they're temporary jobs. They're census takers. We don't have any real jobs created.
Census takers, that was counted
temporary
before.
Employment. We're talking about real jobs, and they're not being created.
Yeah.
People aren't making things. People aren't. They're not steel workers. They're not machine workers. I mean, talk to the unions, your favorite handmaiden in all of this. I mean, it's just not being done. And even the Democrats know it, which is why they have agreed to that. And what happened at the ballot box is what made them agree to even talk to the
Obama
Republicans.
is not trying to bemoan the past. I don't think we should do the same. Let's talk about what
look
Obama
ahead,
has.
Let's just move forward. I see.
We should move forward. We're trying to advance the interests of the American public. And when you have what we haven't talked about, and the successes and the promises of Obama being, let's take the free trade the free trade agreement with South Korea. We don't hear anything, and it was only yesterday that Neil Cavuto on Fox finally said, you know what? That's probably the biggest news that we have heard all week, and I have to apologize. I have to apologize for not commending the president for getting it done, especially when 2 weeks before that, everybody was lamenting that he didn't have a deal.
May I break the filibuster? Yeah. That idea was fashioned under the Bush administration. Look, this is not an Obama idea.
We're not trying to make political points here, Liz. We're trying to score economic points for the American working family.
True is what I'm doing, and I'm correcting
the free trade agreement with South Korea is being done under the Obama administration and will benefit the American working families. He is in line, and there have been things that George W. did on behalf of the American families, and we want to stick to that. That's not to say that we are in the same mode as George W. Bush, and we are not going to allow what ditch we got put into during that era to come again, and we're going to set a course that'll be on a longer-term, safe and secure course.
And that puts you in a ditch. I mean, so that what the people say means nothing. To just sit there and keep defending Obama. I mean, these people are blind.
It's not a matter of defending Obama, nor should it be a matter of attacking Obama. What we're talking about, what policies work to stimulate the economy.
What policy has worked?
Okay, let me finish,
name one.
Liz. I'll name several. You have health care that insured 30 million people.
Oh, sure. That's really gone over big.
It's not sure. Listen, and people are supportive of it in the public. In fact, even the tax cut proposal that Obama has put forth in the last 2 days, the Gallup poll recently, 60% want to see that deal happen.
Every poll so far has shown that the majority of people in this country do not like this health plan.
Can you tell me something? In the last 2 years, tell me what the Republicans have their name on that advanced the welfare of the American working family. Give me one bill.
I can't finish a sentence, so there's no point in my answering your question.
We have people chiming in on the chat right now, so I'll read a few of those to you and give them a breath. You guys are so good. We have got King of Politics writing in, they purposely destroyed the housing markets. And he also writes, they could have saved the precious housing markets with creative financing. We have another tweet. No, it's not a tweet. It's a chat coming in. You know, these things are actually coming in so fast. It's hard to read before they go away. I have to make sure. If we were in it, oh, it went away. Okay, I'm going to go right to the top. Since when was the Republicans even asked? Since when were the Republicans even asked is how that should read. Let's see. Go Liz. We have a Go Liz in here.
Oh, thank you.
Healthcare is a plus, question mark. Ed Reening writes in, it will tie up the judicial system as it's viscerated in our courts. What do you think about that?
Eviscerated or viscerated?
He said viscerated, but I think he meant eviscerated.
I don't think it'll tie it up. There'll be some court decisions. There'll be fine-tuning as there is with any legislation, be it health care or otherwise.
All right. Let's see. We've got TP 1970. It's not the government's job to focus on every little aspect of Americans' lives. Is it? That's, you know, you're chiming in. This
I
is
agree
good.
with that.
And I think that we are going to take a break right now. And when we come back, we're going to talk to our friend Bob Beckel. He's going to be standing by. He comes on at 9:20 on Friday, so we'll look forward to that. So don't go anywhere. You're watching FoxNews.com live.